Sahana bhavatu Sahano bhunaktu Saha viryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu mavid vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Before I address the questions here, I want to just mention that it's not somebody is going to answer your questions. You have to answer the questions yourself. That means you should be ready to listen. Because some people love their questions so much that they are not ready to give up the questions. This is what happened to Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi also. So the story goes that one man went and said, Bhagavan, I went to so many Swamis and I asked this question. Nobody could answer this question. Please, I came here to please answer this question. And Bhagavan stopped him before he started asking. You won't get a satisfactory answer. You better go somewhere else. So then, he didn't even listen to the question. He says, why did you let other people ask, how come you like that? It says he loves his question so much that he is not ready to give up, whatever the answer is. Okay, describe Satchid Ananda. If I describe right now, then the camp will be over. So we will address this as we go along, because we addressed Prajnanam Brahma. Now, address a little bit of Sat, but we are going to address a little bit more and how to combine the Sat and Chit together, because Bhagavan himself is going to tell, and what is Ananda also. All these aspects will be answered, so there is no problem there. Differentiate between Bahyatma, Jivatma, Antaratma, Atma. There is no Bahyatma. Atma means self, and we are going to learn here that self alone is. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the one I just finished, it says, Atma ityopasita, sarvam idam Atma. So everything is nothing but Atma. So there is everything idam means even this also Atma. How that is Atma? That's what he's going to talk about in the 16th sloka. So everything is Atma, then there couldn't be Bahya, there is nothing else beyond Atma. Because Atma is nothing but Brahman, there is nothing beyond Atma. So Bahya Atma, when you say, then I have to have Antaratma, and then they have to differentiate Bahya. So when I say myself, I am the body, therefore with reference to body, there is inner and outside. So when I say I am only locally located, if I have that concept, then the Lord is somewhere else, creation is everything else. Then we have to talk about Antar Bahischata Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. So inside, outside, everywhere is Narayana is there, one can say from the Lord point. Says Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Chamatmani. The Bhagavan says, Yomam Pasyati Sarvatra. I quoted that sloka, right? Yomam Pasyati Sarvatra Sarvancha Mahim Pasyati. One who sees me everywhere and everything in me. Or, that's from the bhakti point, or from the jnanam point, sarva bhutastham atmanam sarva bhutani chamatmani. One sees oneself in everywhere and everything in his own self, he is same. So both from the point of Atma point or from a Brahman point, because remember I told you Prajnanam Brahma is consciousness is Brahman. So if you think you are conscious entity, you are that. Just in the, maybe a little bit off topic, but we just did Brahma, Panam, Brahmahavi, right? The whole Vedanta is packed in that. It's not for eating meals, although we do that, but it says Brahma Arpanam. Since it's a topic came, we're going to address a little bit. Brahma Arpanam. Arpanam is the ladle. So it is for the Grihasthas because they were doing homam. So yajna, because sannyasis don't do the karma. So it is the Grihasthas only. So Shankara gives a beautiful explanation for that. Okay. So Arpanam is Brahman. Brahma Arpanam Brahmarpanam. Arpanam is ladle that you use for pouring ghee into the fire. Sir, just now you told me Brahman is infinite. Arpan is this little silly layer, this ladle is small, very finite. Brahman is, you said, consciousness is Brahman. This is not conscious, this is unconscious entity. How can this equation be valid? Brahma Arpanam. So it's called Samanadhikaranam. This is Samanadhikaranam, means equal emphasis in the words. When in the Sanskrit, when the two words are used in the same case means same vibhakti or same declension, then they have equal weight. So that means they are equal in the sense that you have to interpret properly. So there are 4 types of interpretations for when they are used. So Arpanam is Brahman. That's a Samana. So Arpanam is equal to Brahman. That's what the statement is. So how Arpanam equal to Brahman is illogical. So that we need to understand clearly what the implication of this. I just give you a little bit, but we have to go into detail more a little later. But Arpanam and Brahman cannot be there in the Samanadhikaranam, means each one is a equal weight. So they are either you say Arpanam or you say Brahman, both are same. Just like Vishnu Sahasram, Vishwam, Vishnu, Vashatkaro. Vishwam is equal to Vishnu, Vishnu is equal to Vishnu, Vashatkaro is equal to Vishnu. They are all Samanadhikaranam. They are all used in the same sense of the identity. Aikya Samanadhikaranam. That's one type of Samana. Then the second type of Samanadhikaranam is Visheshana Visishtayam Samanadhikaranam. So one is Visheshana and Visishta. Both can be used in the same case also, like the Neelam, what is that? Okay, blue lotus, not body. Blue lotus. Blue is noun, lotus is noun. But blue is not separate entity from lotus. Blue is a Visheshana for Visheshya. Visheshya is object and Visheshana is a qualifying things. Therefore, they are used in that sense. One is a Visheshanam and is Visheshana. So, this interpretation of Tattvamasi, there are Samanadhikaranam. Tat, you are that. You that are in the Samanadhikaranam. But Ramanuja interprets this is a Visheshana Visishta Samanadhikaranam. You know what is Visishta Advaita. So, you are Visheshana for the total Brahman. You are only qualified if a Brahman is the total, and in the total, you are one of the Visheshana. You are one of this part of the Brahman. That's how he interprets, using the Samanadhikarana, Tattvamasi statement. So that's one way of interpretation of that. Tattvamasi used this. And in this Brahmarpanam, he used the third aspect, is called Upasanayam Samanadhikaranam. Upasana means for the sake of Upasana, we can use this. So when you go to a temple, hey, this is Vishnu. I said, Vishnu is in Vaikuntha. How can this be Vishnu? And this is a stone here. Vishnu must be conscious entity, not unconscious stone. So how can it be? It says this is the Upasanayam Samadhi. This is treat this as the Vishnu and do your Upasana. It's not different from Vishnu. Treat this as a Vishnu. For Upasana's sake, so Ramanuja interprets, Bhagavan Ramanuja interprets the ladle is Upasanayam Samanadhikaranam. In that sense it is used. So that is the third. I gave you 3 already. The fourth one, which Shankara uses, is essentially, it is Badhayam Samanadhikaranam. Badhaya means you have to drop things in order to equate this. It's called Bhagatyaga Lakshana. You have to drop certain things in order to equate. So what is this? So we had one friend by name Devadatta, long time ago, very cute boy. And after many, many years, this Devadatta has taken sannyasa and came here. I forgot, I didn't hear about what is about Devadatta. And somebody came who knows, Soyam Devadatta. This is that Devadatta. So this is called Samanadhikarana. There is only one Devadatta. This Devadatta and that Devadatta. And now we are equating 2 Devadattas, which is this Devadatta and that Devadatta, that cute looking boy, and this Swami here is same. One who knows that is introducing me, one who knows that these two are same, and telling me this is that Devadatta, where different space and different time that we met, that Devadatta, and this Devadatta, which is completely different body, different Vesham and all that, and he is equating these two. Oh, this is that Devadatta. Immediate knowledge. Because now I am dropping all the Virodha qualifications, contradictory qualifications of this Devadatta and that Devadatta, and equating into one. What that is same Devadatta as that, because all others are immaterial. You follow now? So this is Brahma Arpanam. This ladle is also Brahman. How can this be Brahman? Says Brahman became many. He himself became everything. So even this Arpanam is this existence alone was there before, it now exists in this ring is nothing but gold. That is Samanadhikarana. Ring qualifications may be different from gold qualifications, but yet I am equating these two in the same way. So when I say this, the Bahya Atma, Jivatma, and the Antaratma, Atma, all these words mean depending upon what reference state you are using those words. But from the point of Vedantic bottom line, I want to know. That's what we're interested in, bottom line. From bottom line, there is only one Atma. Or you can call it Brahman, you can call me the Aham Brahmasmi. There is nothing other than this Atma. So this, I am Atma Brahma. This becomes a Mahavakya, where identity relation between Jivatma and Paramatma is brought, where I have to remove the contradictory qualifications and equate the essence. This ring and the gold, this bangle are gold. So I am removing contradictory qualifications of the ring, and the bangle is removed, and I am equating the essence of it, and that is what counts. Right? What counts is how much gold it is, not the ring form, and the value of the is not based on the name and the form. So that's what is the implication of all these things. Is consciousness part of the mind? I showed my hand here. Is light part of my hand? That light which illumines my hand, is it part of my hand? Is it different from my hand? Or is it same as my hand? Sannapya sanna upayatmikano, bhinnapya bhinnam upayatmikano, sangapya nanga upayatmikano, mahadbhuta nirvasaniya rupa. This comes in the Viveka Chudamani, defining about the Maya. It is same or it is different. You cannot distinguish, because without the light you cannot see the hand. So what you are seeing is only light, but you say I am seeing the hand. Is it different from a hand? Is ring different from a gold, or is ring same as gold? If you say ring is the same as gold, no dictionary will tell you ring is equal to gold. They are not equal. They are not synonyms. Yet you say this ring is gold. So yet what exactly you are equating versus what exactly has to be? So consciousness is all pervading Brahman. Therefore it cannot have any parts whatsoever. Now, mind is something, mind is inert. Just now I said mind is inert. So therefore, mind is a part of the creation of the Panchabhutas and all that. We say, he himself became many. How did it become many? Tasmatma, tasmat atman akasha sambhuta, akashat vayu, agni apa, the prithivya, oshadebhyonnam, annat purusha, all good is coming there, because from Atma, from the subtlest to the grossest, is coming down in the creation. And this mind is part of the subtle body in the subtle creation. Okay? So it's in the part of creation for whom Brahman doesn't become created. Remember, from Brahman point there is no creation. But from the point of the one who sees the creation, there is a mind, there is something, because through the mind only you are seeing it. So only Jiva can ask that question. From the consciousness point, consciousness has no parts of any kind. Okay? So is consciousness part of mind? No, consciousness cannot have parts. Infinity cannot have parts. That's why, because it's infinite. So no divisions can be made in the infinite, because it's infinite. At the same time, Bhagavan Ramanujaya makes it different. So So that's why you have to understand what exactly from whose point this teaching is. So I said there is no Sajati Vijati Vedas. Ramanuja agrees that part, but there is a Swagata Veda. That means internal differences are there in the total. So that's what the Virat Swarupam, you see, says all beings are in the total Virat Swarupam. For that also we will only be considered as Ishvara. From Brahman point there is nothing of that type also. So we also agree in that point. Karma, one reaps the consciousness of one's actions. How do you explain the fact that some good people get suffering while some bad people apparently enjoy the good life? Do the results catch up later? Yes. 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 Now remember, nobody suffers unnecessarily. That's a Vedantic statement. So any suffering you say is because of your own actions in the past. You may remember, you may not remember. So, no, I never did this. You never did this in this life, but this life is continuing. See. So how do you know that their last life? It says otherwise cause-effect relationship breaks down. So there are 2 points. The cause-effect relationship seems to be valid from the birth to the death, or from what Gurudev says, from the womb to the tomb. So when this relation, because I am an engineer because I went through engineering school. I am full because I ate food right now. I am starving because I didn't eat anything. Not that, this is for example. So all this is because there is a cause and immediate effect is there. The effect can be immediate or it may take prolonged depending upon the nature of the action. Right? It will take many years for you to become doctor, because when you are a doctor means there is so many years of action is involved in that. So therefore, this cause-effect relationship is valid. When you go to the school, I don't become a doctor. If you ate an apple, that I don't become a sinner, because that's what people say, because he ate an apple. Somebody ate an apple and I am born. So how can that be? That cannot be. And my parents did something, therefore I am inheriting that. No, you don't inherit anything of any of the past. You inherit whatever you deserve. So whatever I get is because of my own actions in the past. That's called prarabdha, whether I remember or not. So nobody suffers unnecessarily. So if you have a wife, you ask for it. If you have a husband, you ask for it. This is because that is what you need in order for you to grow up. Because that's what the environment conducive to exhaust your vasanas. So everything says, Gurudev's statement is, what I have is prarabdha. Remember I gave some other example. What I have is his gift, and what I do with that is for Guru Dakshina. Now I'm telling you something else. What I have is prarabdha. What I do with what I have is called purushartha. So I cannot complain from my prarabdha because that is my own result of the action, but I have a choice in the action. Now I can undo or do something else or change my prarabdha in such a way that the results will be better. So that choice I have. So from the point of good people, nobody suffers unnecessarily. And from the point of good people, if they are suffering, that means their bad karma is getting over quickly so that they can evolve fast. That's the only way. And the bad people apparently enjoy the good life, they will pay the consequence of their actions. So even though you escape the local law by bribing the judges and all that, you have to bear the consequence of the action, because Chitragupta is very, very, very smart. He takes accounts exactly. Therefore, you don't get anything unless it is deserving. So that is what.
But he's getting twice.
One
in the real world, one in the future world.
Yeah. Atma Vicharana, Atma Jnanam, Atma Darshanam, inquiry, knowledge, realization. Which one is superior? Are they steps, or the step-by-step process? Are they similar or different? Are they past to seek bliss? A lot of questions. The whole Vedanta is back in this. Atma vicharana. Atma is vicharana means Atma has to be inquired. So in the Mandukya Upanishad it says in the mantra 7, after discussing the Mandukya Upanishad, the most scientific Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, talks about the waking state, dream state, and the deep sleep state. And then comes to Turiyam. Turiyam is the fourth state. It's not really fourth because there are only 3 states. Fourth is only with reference to there are none of these 3, yet it pervades all the 3. So it says, it defines the 3 in that which cannot be defined, you remember? Cannot be defined, but defines in the mantra 7 of Mandukya. It says, Nanta pragyam, na bhahi pragyam, no bhayata pragyam, na pragyana karam, na pragyam, and adustam avyaharyam, agriyahyam, adresyam, achintyam, and ekatma pratyaya saram, shantam, shivam, advaitam, chaturtam manyante, sa atma, sa vigneyaha. That's what the mantra is. I said good, but that's what the implication is. So it is not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not a waker, it's not a dreamer, it's not a deep sleeper, it's not in between, it's not conscious entity, it's not unconscious entity, it is not that which can think of, which is not that which cannot be thought of, which is not because of which everything can be thought of. You can put all things. That is fourth. And that has to be inquired into. Why I have to inquire? Because you don't know. If you know it, there is no need for inquiry. Inquiry is completed. So because I need to inquire when I am not a jnani. So what is the litmus test for jnanam? It's a good question. It's not in this question, but the question is, what is the litmus test that I am a jnani? I told you, you cannot go and test other people. Nobody can test other people whether he is a jnani or a jnani. Okay? But I can test myself though. I should know whether I am jnani or not. So, no jnani declares that I am jnani, because it's useless declaration. No, because somebody else has to believe what you say. So if it is a belief question, what's the point? I don't believe you are. So what do? You can jump up and down. He's not going to believe up and down. Yeah. I am a jnani, but my neighbor doesn't think so. What should I do? What do you do? Nothing. My people they don't know that I am realized. So nobody can, other person cannot go. So don't go and evaluate teachers with that sense. If you can get help from them, satsangatve nissangatva. If you don't get help, there are other people who can get. It's a beautiful, when Gurudev was giving satsang, so an American lady asked a question. At that time, there are a lot of gurus coming and lots of nonsense also going on. One young boy came, he married his secretary and all, there are some divine, all sorts of missions. And another guy had 14 Cadillacs behind him. All these guys were happening. So this lady asked question, why does India send all kind of this gurus? Why don't they send the right guru, this kind of mess, who doesn't make all this kind of mess? So I was wondering how is Swamiji is going to answer this question. This is very interesting, you know. Gurudev, he said, when you go to a shop, you go and pick up what you want. Don't complain that this manager is selling all sorts of things that I don't need it. Because manager has to cater for everybody's needs. That's why he's manager. He has to sell these products, and everybody's demands are different things, so he has to cater for that. In case you went and picked up the wrong one, if it is India, you have to suffer. If it is here, at least you can return it and get back what you want. So, next time, use your intelligence and select properly. Intelligence is required to evaluate whether I am getting benefit out of this or not. Okay, that's what has to be. So, when you are ready, a teacher will come. Gurudev used to say, a flower doesn't have to go in search of a bee. It has to bloom itself, the bee shall come. That is the law. So if that is the case, if I bloom myself with the purity of the mind, appropriate teacher that can help me will come to the situation. But I should be open enough for satsang. If I close myself, let me see how the Lord is going to provide. He says, when you open it, I'll come. Why should I hurry? You take your own time. So the flower, he says, let me see which bee will come, and if I close my petals and all that, he says, no bee will come. You have to open yourself, beautify yourself in some way, so that appropriate bee will be coming. So that's, but you have to recognize that. So inquiry is required, provided I know how to inquire. So in the Maitreyi Brahmana statement is Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. You have to listen to the scriptures, Srotavyaha, from a competent teacher. And who is a competent teacher? The one who was a competent student before. So himself learned the scriptures methodically, and that you have to go approach. There is no shortcuts here. Okay? So therefore, inquiry has to be done, provided I know how to inquire. So hopefully, after the camp is over, then we have methodology to inquire of what exactly is the truth behind it. And if problem comes again, another camp will be there, so no problem. So Atma Vicharana. So Atma Jnanam. Atma is knowledge. And Atma Darshanam. Darshanam is realization. Realization or reanalyze. We have to reanalyze for realization. I was telling, I forgot about it. What is the litmus test for self-realization? The litmus test for this is I should not depend on anything other than myself for my happiness. If I want this for me to be happy, if I want that for me to be happy, or this is not doing, that fellow that not doing, and I am not happy, that means you are not realized. That's one test. Chandogya Upanishad gives you another test. I recommend that very strongly. What is the test? You go to the kitchen, heat the red hot iron, and then touch it. If it gets burned, that means you are not realized. Remember, this is a real test in the Chandogya Upanishad. Implication is, if I have the knowledge, when I make a contact with the world, I won't get burned. That is the meaning of that. That's the example in the Chandogya also, he gives that example. So essentially what it means is, I am impervious to ups and downs in life. The jnani becomes impervious. So he's ready to drop things, next day he moves around. I used to watch Gurudev, I know, I'm sure more people who know, and every letter he gets, he responds. For us, we take, we postpone everything. Every letter he responds. Then I was watching, what does he do? He responds, immediately he tears that, puts it. The rest, the other letter that he got. He doesn't carry anything with him. His response is immediate. And he doesn't carry anything with him. And everybody thinks that his Swamiji is so close to me. He's everywhere. People will be overwhelmed, and they think that, oh, Swamiji is my Swami and all that. Next day, next station, all this is forgotten completely, and he's in the environment wherever that is beautified. Wherever he goes, he beautifies. But that is Mahatma science that we can see. But for us to become realize whether it is Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha, that is what Sthita Prajna. I am happy with myself, therefore I don't depend on anything other than myself for my happiness. So that is the litmus test for realization. Okay.
What is the source of the last statement?
That's Bhagavad Gita. That is Sthita Prajna. Prajaha ati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atman eva atmana tushta. That is Sthita Prajna. So that is a part of this Sthita Prajna. He is Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. He is reveling in himself by himself because he is the source of happiness. There is nothing for him to revel on because there is no happiness there. So that's why he is contented that he doesn't depend on something else for his happiness. That's what. If it comes, it's okay. If it doesn't come, also it's okay. Not that he hates something. So it's not that way. So there is one, which one is superior? So darshanam is the explanation says drashtavyaha, srotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha. This is the actual statement of Yajnavalkya to his. So drashtavyaha means I had to see. See what? See as this I am the essential truth. So drashtavya means aparokshataha jnatavyaha. That's what Shankara says. Means aparoksha means direct and immediate. Paroksha is indirect. Paroksha means like the 10th man. You are the 10th man. It is immediate knowledge. There is nothing else, oh, I am the 10th man. I don't have to do meditation or japa or something. It is immediate knowledge because it's available right there. So, I am is everywhere available. So, therefore, I am the totality has to be understood by inquiry and that has to be recognized. It's not that I am going to become after inquiry. It's all the time there. So, that's the Nitya Mukta Swarupoham. I am eternally liberated, never bound. But right now I think I am bound, therefore I need education. To know that I am not really bound. That's all the story is. So realization is requires a reanalysis, which requires an inquiry. And that's what we are doing. So knowledge is, I just defined what knowledge cannot be defined. Full knowledge. Knowledge of we can define. So knowledge of myself is what is being given. But when I know what it is self-revealing. So how does it occur? In the Naishkarmya Siddhi, Sureshwara Acharya gives a very beautiful example. So when I go to a dark room, it's a dark room, I cannot see anything. So I'm taking a torchlight. So when I take a torchlight, I can shed the light on it. I see there is a chair. Now I can see the chair there. So if it's a small torchlight, it's a focus. So I move the torchlight to see some other object. Like that, I can reveal each object by shedding light on it. Right? Now I see some pot there. In the dark room, it was not pot. So I put torchlight and I saw a pot. And pot is upside down there. So I said, what is the curiosity? What is there underneath? So I lifted the pot and put it aside. Then I see candle there burning. Now should I put the torchlight to see the candle which is burning? Because the torchlight is self-revealing. I need to remove the pot. Otherwise I cannot see the flame. Once I remove the pot, the candle that is already burning all the time is, I don't need a torchlight to see that light. It is self-revealing, self-luminous. So what I am doing by this Vedanta Shravana, I am removing the ignorance out of it to recognize that self-revealing, self-conscious entity, it is self-revealing. Okay, that's what has to be understood. And with that, the questions, is that is the question and answers. We have a couple of minutes. If you want to stretch yourself, then you can stretch yourself. We will start the class 3 minutes from now. Yeah, if you write it down, I cannot.
Ignorance. Elaborate on the ignorance. Is that related to the detachment?
Anyway, question is elaborate on ignorance. Let me ask the simple question. No, don't worry, don't write there. It's okay. No, it's all. The question is elaborate in ignorance. So I have come to ask you: do you know Gaga Bubu? I don't know. Right? That means you have ignorance of Gaga Bubu. Can you please elaborate on your ignorance of Gaga Bubu for me a little bit? What can I say? Say, I don't know. I don't know. That's the end of the story. So ignorance is that which covers the knowledge that I don't know. But I know that I don't know. Right? How do you know that you don't know Gaga Bubu? Of course I know. What? That I don't know. So I know that I don't know. I know that I know. All this information can be possible, but what exactly the nature of ignorance? It is that which covers the knowledge. That's all the ignorance is. But I need a sadhana to remove that in order to. But knowledge itself is not a result of sadhana, because it's not based on the Purusha Tantram. It's called Purusha. It's a Vastu Tantra. I'm introducing some word, but what is knowledge? You cannot demand. Knowledge is you. All I can do is be attentive, be focused on it, and see. Because you can make, you come down to the class, you can come down to the camp, you can down. All that is actions. But what you're going to learn is nothing to do with you. It's what I say, right? Depends upon what. So it is not your control. So it's called. It's not a Purusha Tantram. I cannot will the knowledge. I can prepare myself so that the knowledge comes. That's why they call revelation. It is revealed to me. Okay? I cannot demand, now come. I finished everything, I studied, I sit here and therefore come. No, it won't come. It has to. That's why we have to do proper puja. Saraswati will come to you. But Saraswati cannot be demanded. She comes only when the mind is prepared enough for that. So the mental preparation is required. And how do mental preparation? Karma yoga, all those things prepare the mind also. So ignorance cannot be defined other than, but Mula Vidya, we'll come back to that. Mula Vidya, Maya and all that, we go a little bit deeper in the text when we come. Okay, go ahead.
For the Atma Vicharana, there should be a basis.
Yes.
So is the basis the Bhakti Marga, Yoga Marga, Karma Marga? We need to have some kind of...
Vicharana is an intellectual inquiry. You need intellect. But intellect has to be ready to inquire. Right? So for that intellect, to preparation of the intellect to make it ready is called Chitta Suddhi. For that all the yogas. Yogas are meant for purifying the intellect so that you can attend the camp. Okay? If your mind is not perturbation, you cannot sit for too long. So all those yogas is going to tell that also. All the yogas is preparing the mind so that you can start inquiring. How do I inquire? You have to do srotavyaha, mantavyaha. There is no shortcuts there. You have to listen to the scripture from an appropriate, competent teacher and for enough length of time until it is crystal clear.
So Vicharana leads to Gnana.
Yes.
Gnanam leads to realization.
Jnanam is realization. Jnanam involves realization. Okay? Okay, everybody. I have a tendency to fly my hands around. Thank you. Okay, let's start with our text. Continue. So we did the Jagada Isha Dehi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti book Deva Pujanam. So in the Jagat Ishadihi, take the word, I give some explanations. And final explanation one says, Jagat means world. So Jayate Gacchate iti Jagat, that keeps continuously changing. But the total world we are involved is both the subject and the object. And I said the object, existence of the object cannot be established unless I have the knowledge of its existence. Right? That means conscious entity has to be there to say that world is, chair is. Chair doesn't say I am there because it's not conscious entity. So without conscious entity establishing the existence of an object, the existence of object cannot be established as it is there. That's what the statement is. So Jagat Aishadihi, the one I say, I am taking the world. So world involves all the objects. And the objects is going to talk more, involves thought process. And I, the subject, and the thought, the object, are together has to be worshipped as one. And that becomes a Jagat Aishadihi Ishwaraha. So that becomes a knowledge now. That we are going to analyze a little bit more careful. I just give you that explanation depends upon how you want to look at this sloka also. Right now, Jagadisha means whole thing is world, and I am a full-time devotee. That has to be understood. Remember, devoted husband, devoted wife, all those things. Uttamastava ducchamandataha ducchamandataha Chittajam japa dhyanamuttamam. So in the japa and all that, in the meditations, he is giving you the hierarchy of what is better in that. Uttamaha, stavaha, and ucha mandataha. Mandataha is slowly chanting versus loudly chanting. So which is better? Slowly chanting is better because you are not disturbing other people. So people put this the continuously tape Om Namo Narayanaya Om the Gayatri Mantram, and they don't listen, and it's a big nuisance for everybody else. So that is not. If you're going to put it, listen to it. Otherwise, don't make noise. It's unnecessarily noise to other people. So you have to understand this. Just because I am a devotee, let other people know that I am a devotee and put loudly your music all over. Because in Madras you hear all that, the slokas and even the blasting of from the temples, all that, It's more a nuisance, and people get sin rather than any punyam out of that. Unless I am devoted, and in that case, Bhagavan Ramana is saying is Manda japa is better than loudly saying Uttamasta Ucha Mandataha Chittajam japa. Even loudly in your own mind, if you start doing it, that is even better. Dhyanam Uttamam, that kind of things is much better. So he is giving a hierarchy of how to evolve yourself in the process, in the japa. Ajyadharaya Srotasa Samam Sarala Chintanam Viralatah Param. So in the mental meditation also he is giving you now hierarchy in the process. He says two examples are given. Like Ajya Dhara. Ajya Dhara means, Ajya means ghee. And clarified, ghee always. So ghee, flow of the ghee. That's one example. So Srotasa Samam. So just like the flow of the river. So these two examples are given. In that it means there are, one is Ajya, when you touch the ghee, it sticks. Right? So it's because it's oily. And Ajam is clarified butter. That means you burn the butter, get rid of things that you don't like, and get the ghee out of it. That's what ghee is made. You all know ghee. That means I had to burn myself, my mind, and get essence out of it, and with that I meditate. That means unnecessarily thoughts to be out, and only ekatma, that's in the single pointed towards the goal that I want, that is required in the chintanam, in the inquiry into that. That is the example of ajyadhara. Also ajyadhara means, since it sticks, right? Six means sneha bhav. That means I had to love the goal that I am. I want that. Without the love, you cannot inquire. That means I had to realize that this is what I want. All other pursuits are not really helpful because I realize that they are not giving me happiness. This alone gives me the eternal happiness that I am longing for, and therefore this is the one that I want to spend time. So from now on, whenever you go to parties, start talking about Vedanta. One good thing is they will stop inviting you for parties. Because this guy became a bore. But you revel in it because that's what happened to me. Nobody wants parties, no invitation. That's help, because if you give party, then you have to cook and you have to also give parties. It's too much nonsense. So this is even safer. So that's the sneha bhava is emphasized in the ajyadhara. And sarala chintanam, like a flow of the river, when the river is flowing, it knows the goal. I had to reach this sea. That's the goal is fixed. Now, as it is flowing, if it is a small obstacle, it jumps over joyously and making gurgling noise and goes. Because it can, hey, these are nothing. But if it's a big obstacle, big mountain there, it gracefully goes around it and avoids. But it never loses the goal that I want to reach the ocean. That is what is emphasized in this Upadesa Saram. So with this determination, I had to proceed further in spite of obstacles that come. Your wife may not agree, your husband may not agree, your children may not agree. All those things are, you have to tolerate as a part of prasadam, because you don't say that's a part of your growing up, because that is a part of your sadhana also. So in spite of that, you proceed further. So that is the example Bhagavan gives here. Acharya Sarala Chintanam Viralatah Param. The continuous contemplation on that is best. If not, at least don't worry about it. Start thinking about it. So how do we start? How do we apply this? Somebody asked, how do we apply this Vedanta? So from tomorrow onwards, you start this if you already. First thing in the morning, recognize what I am. What is the truth that I am looking for? See presence of the life in you. First thing as before you do all other activities. And last thing in the night, again come back to this. At least 2 ends are fixed. In the mind, at least you have. Now I will tell you later in terms of what exactly you have to see. But this, as a sadhana, if you start it, the mind gets slowly get purified. So that becomes a virala chintana. Even intermittently, if I can think, whenever my mind can contemplate on this, instead of talking about, because all gossip is only talking about somebody else, right? So instead of that, concentrate on this. So this concentration can be either studying the books, writing about it, talking. If you can catch hold of somebody, talk about it, and whatever you can, provided your mind is in that state of constant inquiry. Okay, that's what is required. That's why satsangam is what is called. Veda bhavana sohamityasau. Bhavana sohamityasau. Bhavana bidha pavani mata. So here, now he's slowly taking us to Advaita Vedanta. Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi is taking it. He says, Veda bhavanas, Veda bhavanat, soham, saha aham iti, soham iti, asau bhavana, abhida bhavana pavani. Pavani means more sacred. This is mata, this is the opinion. So here, Veda bhavan, right now we are in the state of what you call triangular format. Triangular form means I am a jiva. This is the word, Jagat. And there is a Lord Ishvara. So anytime I have problem, I run to the temple, right? Because this is called 3 aspects of the Lord. So whenever I have problem, I say, oh Lord, please help me. I'm looking for some Lord. You know, people, oh Lord, people, everybody looking upstairs. That means we have decided he's not here, down. He's up somewhere else. So everyone is running to the Lord. This is our understanding. But if I understand who is that Lord, what exactly is the Lord, where exactly is the Lord, if Lord is everywhere, why do you have to run to the temple? So somebody says, Lord is everywhere, why do we need a temple? A fellow, a teenager asks, if I can see the Lord everywhere, a temple, then I see temple everywhere. Because I don't see it, at least go and see the Lord in the temple. Until that vision is there, I need that temple. But once I understand it, I can see Lord in temple also. Also outside too. That discriminative faculty comes by constant sadhana of understanding what exactly is the Lord. Then I can recognize the presence of the Lord everywhere also. That's what Krishna says, I am there in everyone. So if I can see the Lord everywhere, how can I be jealous? How can I be greedy? How can I be all selfish tendencies drop down if I have the vision of the Lord everywhere? If I don't have it, cultivate it as a sadhana. So, a story that tells us there was one cook for a person who was a bachelor, and he hired a cook. And this cook is in Madras, everybody sings, including Richawala, he knows classical music there. So this guy has a good interest in the classical music, and he was cooking for him. And whenever he's cooking and water is coming, he was playing along with the drums and Truti, mixing up and singing along with it. Whatever dub noise, he along make it as a music for him. So he was doing, while cooking, he was singing, enjoying whatever he's cooking with the music. So one gentleman came and visited and says, "Hey, who is singing there?" "Oh, that's my cook. He enjoys music, and I have no problem. Let him, "Oh, that he seemed to be good. Why don't you get some, put him in a music school or something? He seemed to be very good." "Okay, I'll ask him." If he says, "Hey, come here. Do you want to learn music?" Say, "Yes, I'm interested." "Okay, I'll pay for it. You go whenever you're free, cooking, you go and learn music lessons and all that." So this man was paying for him, and he was learning music slowly. He developed so much. He became an expert musician in the process, because he went this school and the next school and next school, and this man was supporting all. And he was in so much demand that he was being invited all over for programs and all that. And this man, of course, had to hire another cook meanwhile, but he was performing all over the place. Suddenly, that great musician came to this town. And he knows that this person is the one who responds to, so he wanted to visit him. And when he visited him, saw there's nothing in the kitchen, and says, "Hey, how come no one is there to cook?" He said, "Oh, I don't know, this cook today didn't come on." "Oh, I'll cook for you." So the musician went inside and started cooking for this person because of his reverence to this person. So a friend of mine says, "Who is cooking?" "Oh, that great musician is cooking." Remember who was singing before? Cook was singing before. Now what happened? It's a great musician is cooking now. Transformation is complete. Means by sadhana, one can become what you want. That is required. So this understanding is one thing. Oh, it is so difficult. It's about you. There's nothing to difficult. It's you. It's direct, immediate. Because if, say, it is so difficult, that is becoming a difficult also. It becomes more difficult because of your association that it is difficult. If it's so simple, because it says it's you, there's nothing to know. Recognize that you are that. That requires a proper preparation of the mind, which can be done with abhyasena to kaunteya vairagyena. Drop the nonsense, that's called vairagyam. Drop the nonsense means drop the wrong notions about yourself. By renouncing only you can reach. Renouncing what? Renouncing wrong notions about yourself. And understand what your nature is. That is how you evolve. So that is essentially the Veda Bhavana is the Lord is there, I am there. All this is because I take myself, I am limited, and the Lord is there to help me. I need somebody else to help me. That kind of desperate. Lord is not going to do any help. So then prayer is useless? No. Prayer helps you to make sure that Lord will tell you that, hey, you have everything you have that is given to you. To recognize the presence of the Lord and everything, I need a prayer so that my mind is clear enough so that the solution comes to me. So the prayer will be helpful. Not that I don't go not to go to temple. I'm not advocating that. But once you have a Vedantic student, whatever comes is because of the prarabdha. Accept it as Ishvara Prasadam and proceed with that so that you can change whatever within the limitations you have, proceed. If the limitations are too much, Lord will take care of it. Once you turn towards Him, He is there to help. So appropriate things will be provided to you when you are ready. That's what is the whole implication is. So here Veda Bhavana is that triangular format. Slowly I have to move to binary format where I am and everything is Atma. Atma Anatma Vicharam becomes. Everything is not self and everything is, I am the self. What is not self? Not self is just like gold saying, everything is nothing but me. At the same time, I am not this ring and a bangle and a necklace. It says the the Mastani Sarva Bhutani, all beings are me in me, that's what Krishna says. But in the very next sloka, Nacha Mastani Bhutani, no beings are in me. Next very sloka. And Gurudev used to say, not even wash his mouth. He just said, immediately says, all beings are in me, and immediately says, no beings are in me. He's contradicting himself. Gold can say, there are no ornaments in me. I am pure gold. Yet, all ornaments are in me only. So, from the Paramarthika Drushti, from the highest reality, there is no differences of any kind. So we have that vision. I am a goldsmith guy. These rings and a bangle and a necklace and all that is nothing but gold only. I have that vision of the gold in spite of differences of ring is different from a bangle is different from a necklace. But for transactions, now so I went to gold shop and says, went to see, says all rings and golds and so on. Says, nothing is that I like there. So I went, shop fellow says, why are you selling all this nonsense? And what do you want? I want certain ring and this kind of, I don't sell that kind of rings. He says, nobody will buy you other than you. I made those because there is a demand for it. Right? So ring and a bangle and necklace are made because there is a demand for a ring. This lady wants to wear a ring, not a bangle. So therefore there is a demander for that. Therefore the Lord has to make to meet the demand. Follow now why you are born this environment, that environment. You can't criticize the Lord anymore because there is a demand by you, but you want that kind of husband. Therefore you got that husband or wife. I'm just giving you an example. But this, whatever I have, is His gift to me. That has to be understood properly because I had the demand for that. Because how did you demand? Because of my vasanas. All that has to come into picture. Therefore, once I recognize that there is me, Atma and Anatma, how Anatma and Atma are combining together, just as you are looking at this hand, at the same time you are looking at the light only. There is a light and the hand, but actually you are seeing only the hand, only the light only. So that has to be understood. Someone said, what is meditation? Says if you go to on a Purnami day, full moon day, and you are seeing an object in this moonlight, right? Looking at the object, recognize that you are seeing the sunlight. That is realized that sunlight falls on the moon, reflected by the moon, falls on the object, reflected by the object, coming into my eyes, right? Because sun is not self-shining, moon is not self-shining, it's not a luminous object. Therefore, what I am seeing is nothing but sunlight. So every object that I perceive in the world, consciousness is beaming through as existence, and existence is coming to me as a thought in my mind that I am illumining. Okay? Therefore, it is the Lord. But how is it reflected depends upon the shape and the form. Nama Rupa is only name. Ring is only name and a shop. There is no ringly substance there. Even though I called it as a golden ring, gold has become an adjective for the ring, but actually it is gold only. It's a ringly gold. Right? That's the correct way of saying. It's a gold only in the form of a ring. What is forms and names? Name for it for that form. Ring is only name for that form. If it's a different form, I call it a bangle. Form is changing, but gold is not changing. Lord is there in this form, in this form, in another form, in this form, in every form. Only forms are different. Attributes of each one is different. Qualities of each one is different. Yet in and through, it is nothing but that. That is Abhida Bhavana. That non-difference of I am different from this. That distinction is gone because I am seeing in and through the name of the form, that which pervades all the name and the forms. Follow? That is the vision. So therefore, Bhagavan says, Beda Bhavana, where I see Bedam, differences, I am only looking at this ring is different from a bangle is different from a necklace, he's different, she's different, he's different, oh, he's that kind of guy, he's a rotten guy. All those things are only attributed things, don't mean anything at all, because in essence, this is nothing but the Lord Himself. That doesn't mean you should become a carpet for other people to step on it. You have to be careful. You have to play the game as a game, knowing very well this is nothing but the Lord. Okay? So one has Vedanta doesn't mean that he is going to be a stepping carpet for everybody to walk around. It's not that. Krishna, that's why all our Puranic stories, Krishna never spared anybody. Right? Every Rakshasa was killed left and right. At the same time, he shows everybody is nothing but him only. So knowledge, even though I am a scientist and say this is electrons, protons or neutrons or fundamental particles, doesn't mean that I am going to eat garbage. Garbage is also electrons, protons and neutrons. Doesn't mean that food is food and garbage is garbage. Even though I have understanding that fundamentally they are all same. Right? So in the same way, understanding of knowledge is that everything is Abhida Bhavana. Abhida Bhavana means non-difference of any kind. It's nothing but the Lord Himself in varieties and varieties of names and forms. But that's called Vibhuti. Glory of the gold to exist in gold form, ring form, backless form, because it's a malleable, ductile and all that. It can be existing in any form. That's the glory of the gold. But at the same time, gold doesn't become anything at all. It remains as a gold. The same way, if I can recognize the oneness that pervades everything, that's called the Sukshma Buddhi, called the synthetic mind. There's two types of minds, those psychologists here. There is in the Vedanta, there is a Tichna Buddhi and a Sukshma Buddhi. Tichna Buddhi means sharp mind. Tichna is sharp. Sharp mind is the one that divides. It classifies. It's this is a phylum, this phylum, that. All that classification is at the level where you divide, differentiate this and that, and put this family here, in this family there are different classes. All those differentiations is by a sharp mind. One who is trying to become a super specialist has to be very sharp, because he is dividing in between, smaller and smaller. Tichna Buddhi, that is called Tichna Buddhi. Sukshma Buddhi is integrating mind. The other one is analytical mind. This one is synthetic mind. Synthetic mind is it integrates everything and see oneness that pervades the plurality. In spite of the difference, I see the oneness that pervades. That mind is the one that sees oneness in all. Urdhvamulam adasyakam ashwattam prahuravyayam. This is in the Gita. It says Moolam, the fine type, is always one there. That's why our VMI chart also Omkara comes there. And everything else is branching out, right? But vision in the top is Abhida Bhavana. That vision of realization, that oneness that pervades everything is better than seeing the differences are different. Differences includes, I am a Jiva and this is Ishvara, different from me, and this is Jagat. All that is Bheda Bhavana. So here Bhagavan says, for better than the Bheda Bhavana, Abhida Bhavana, where I don't see any differences in spite of apparent differences. There are apparent differences. In spite of apparent differences between all the ornaments, I see oneness that pervades. That is Abhida Bhavana, is Pavani. Pavani means it is more sacred, because I am integrating whole thing into one. Bhavasunyasad bhavasustitihi sunyasad bhavasustitihi bhavana bhalad bhaktiruttama bhavana bhaktiruttama. So bhavasunya sadbhavasustitihi. Bhavasunyam here he is using a pun on the bhavam. So bhavam, sunya means that which is devoid of all differentiating knowledge. Knowledge that says this is different, that is different, that is different. All the differentiating knowledge is only superficial knowledge. So all our vidya that we are talking about is objective sciences. No, this science is different, that side is super specialist, all differentiating knowledge. That's only for transactionally that is knowledge. From the absolute point, that's not knowledge at all. In the Chandogya, in one of the chapters, the student is Narada and Sanat Kumars are teachers. And Narada goes to Sanat Kumar, please teach me. He says, what do you know so far? And he gives a list of all things, about 60, 70 subjects. He has become PhDs in all, so many of them. And he says, still I am unhappy. All that didn't mean anything to me. He says, yes, there is something beyond all these things that should be known. And that is Sadbhava Sustiti. Sataram Sthiti, Sataram Sthiti means abidance in the knowledge that existence alone was there. Sat is the highest knowledge. How did existence come? For that only Vedanta is a pramana. Remember, we started with Sadeva Soumya Idamagramas. Existence alone was there before creation. Now it's a time we'll go a little bit deeper into what exactly happens in terms of existence versus consciousness. Okay? So, one scripture says existence alone was there before creation. And that existence saw, that means it is Chit Swarupam. And it became many. So it becomes into many different types of things based on, obviously, the vasanas and all. How did it become many? In each scripture tells you, it is Akasha, Vayu created from this more grossification. And there is a lot of Panchikarana process. All that is involved in the becoming. That we can learn somewhere, in the books also there. That is a process of grossification of how it became. Now, little bit epistemology back now, we'll try to understand a little bit. So when I say some object is, right, so object has to exist, right? Because non-existent object, I cannot say object is. That where exactly is the existence is a question that we pose. So I say watch is, right? It's not, watch is not, watch is. So watch exists. But is the existence which is expressed as is, where exactly is the existence in this watch? Is existence a part of the watch, or a property of the watch, or a product of this watch? Exactly what is that existence when they say watch exists? It cannot be any of that. It cannot be property of this watch. Why? Because we said what is there outside the watch? Space. Space is. And space exists also. So if it is the property of the watch alone, then the property of the space also. So what's the difference between the existence of the watch and the existence of the space? In the existence part, is there any difference? Only difference is one is space and one is watch. Only the nama is changing, or rupa is changing, but not in the object of existence itself is not changing. But I cannot see existence alone without the watch or without the space room. That's what happens in the deep sleep state. I don't know that I am there also. Now, here is the problem. I cannot see existence per se. It is infinite. Because it's in the watch, it's in the space, space itself is infinite, therefore I cannot say where existence ends so that I can see existence. Existence cannot be a property because property has to be locused in something other than property. Follow me, let me repeat again. If say a blue lotus, blueness is a property of the lotus. So lotus has the blue. Blue is different from lotus. So something has to be different from existence. If existence is a property, it has to be locused in something else which is that has that property. Follow? Then what is that? It should be different from existence. Only thing different from existence is non-existence. So you cannot say existence is the property of non-existence. That's a contradiction. So existence is not a property. These are all logical analysis of different Mahatmas have done. It's not, now none of them is mine. This is all extremely analyzed everything. Okay, we are only unraveling what they have done only. So therefore, existence itself I cannot see. It is imperceptible. Yet Everything exists for me to see. Huh? If it doesn't exist, I cannot see. So existence has to pervade and provide existence to the object for it to exist. Clear? At the same time, I cannot perceive the existence. A little bit thinking is required for that. Clear this aspect? Therefore, I have to use a discrimination to differentiate. These two things are always together, never one alone. Object plus existence. So every object that I see in this world, existence is there, object, name and form is there. Because existence itself is expressed in that form. That's what the scripture says. Oh, it is not existent, it is made with stainless steel or something, you say. I hope it's something like metal. So what is stainless steel? These are all assembled things. There is no originality there. Stainless steel, nothing but electrons, protons and neutrons, right? Packed in some form. So it is differentiated into. Now what is electrons, protons? Then you got to keep breaking up what somebody said there is a God particle also. Who says? Some conscious entity is saying none of the matter can exist independent of a conscious entity. That will come now. Okay, how? Now, remember I gave you reflection theory. Now recall that. If I say my hand is there, because you are not seeing the hand, you are seeing the reflected light from the hand, that's what you are seeing, right? Now the strange thing about perception, because this is a medical field plus at the same time beyond the medical field also, you'll say. What exactly involved in perception? So I am seeing a chair, right? Sir, what are you seeing? A chair. How do you know it's a chair? How do you define a chair? Now you can define chair. Where do you? Chair is that, you can give some qualifications. It has 4 legs where you can sit on it. That has 4 legs cannot define a chair. Many people, or many, I don't know how many people, many things can have 4 legs. And that which you can sit on, if that doesn't complain, you can say, that need not be chair. You can sit on so many things. So what is that makes a chair and not a table? You tell me what is that makes a chair a chair? Oh, we all scientists and all that. Now tell me, what exactly is that? This has been extremely analyzed in this process. Now, in the perception, this is where Advaita comes so beautifully, is that what I am seeing is only attributes of the object, not the substantive of the object. What do I see? I see its form, I see its color, and I say this kind of form and color, this kind of form is what I call it a chair. It can be paper chair where I cannot sit down, or it can be solid chair where I can sit down also. So therefore, the form is defining to me, and I am giving a name to it as a chair. You can call it Gaga Boob also. Somebody also what is Gaga, that is what it is. So I can give a name for a form that I see. So what do I see? Not the chair, but a form. Form is an attribute of the chair. And what exactly is a chair? How do you define a chair? No, there is a Indian logic. Indian logic is called Nyaya Vaiseshikas. And in the Nyaya Vaiseshika, there are Nyaya and Vaiseshika, 2 people there actually. They follow exactly somewhat similar parallel. They call it Nyaya Vaiseshikas together. Nayayikas. They define everything. Everything precisely defined. So what is, question, what is an object defined? Everything is precise definition there. It's no. So object is, it looks complicated. Praga bhava pratiyogini is an object. How do you define it? Object is that which was not there before. Prak abhava means it was non-existent before, is now an object that you can see. That is an object. Prak abhava pratiyogin means opposite to for its non-existence before. That's how the definition is. Now you ask me the ignorance. Ignorance is defined as praga bhava apratiyogini. That means it is counter to its non-existence before. That means it was there all the time. There's no beginning for ignorance. So you say, I don't know chemistry. Since when you started not knowing chemistry? From the beginning, I don't know. Right? So ignorance cannot have a beginning. But ignorance can end if you know chemistry. So it is not of the type where the beginningless can be endless also. That's why it's a peculiar property of ignorance. Now, I defined all, but I cannot define still a chair. What is a chair? So Nayayika says, chair is that which has chairness. This is the definition. Now what is chairness? Chairness is that which chair has. But chairness is actually a genetic property. All chairs have chairness. All men have manness. So ness, if you add, it becomes a generic property of that species called jati. In the called jati. Okay? These are all called Navya Nyaya. Navya Nyaya means new logic. New logic was developed in 11th century of our philosophy. The new logic was developed, and there are so many great Nayayikas, and the Vedantins started adopting some of the Nyaya terminologies in order to analyze the Vedanta also. Okay, so if you look at after 11th century on, Navya Nyaya became a part of the Vedantic tradition, where Nyaya principles are used in describing things. And there is Narayana Tirtha has written a book on criticizing Advaita using a Navya Nyaya. So very dry logic. You cannot really, people will go to sleep if I start looking at it. And some of it is Vidyaranya analyzed in the Panchadasya, all that I am taking. But this Navya Nyaya is used, and nobody could answer it until Madhusudan Saraswati came and he wrote Advaita Siddhi, which is counter to rejecting what this Narayana Tirtha has written. So like that it goes on, the criticism, counter criticisms, all that, all are based on extremely logical basis. But the question that is how exactly existence and consciousness become one? That's what I want to address. Because he's going to tell us that, I want to give you some glimpse of it. When I see an object, I don't see the object per se, but what I see is attributes of the object through my senses. Senses can only gather the attributes, form, color, sound, taste, all those attributes my senses can gather, number one. And that information forms an image in my mind as a thought. How exactly it does, we don't know. Even science also, you can only talk about this, ophthalmologists can talk about retina, it forms an image. Then optical nervous system will transmit it. Then what? It's only optical nervous system is electrical signal. But how is the electrical signal has transformed into a thought? It is software hardware problem. Remember when you program it to the computer, it is plus minus signs. But it's electrical signal. But transform into a language through a processor, programming language. No, whether you particular program, there is C++, all sorts of programs are there to convert this electrical signal into a software program. All right? That code is there. But this code that Bhagavan has put it, we don't know. How exactly that electrical signal, you go all up, say you can talk about neurons and all that. That's all electrical signal. But how it gets converted into a thought in the mind, I cannot say. But yet, we know, we think we know what the thoughts are. So this is all subtle, that's why it's called software. Hardware is, brain is hardware, but mind is software. So mind cannot be defined correctly in any way, in form, because it's a very subtle. And now when I see an object out there, my senses bring the information. That information is converted into a thought called a vritti. In Sanskrit, called a vritti, because he's going to talk about idam vritti and aham vritti. That's why I'm introducing this now. So object out there has become a thought in my mind. How? The attributes of the object gathered by my senses is converted into the information that is what the thought is. Okay? Clear up to this point? Object is out there. Thought is in my mind. If my mind is not there, I don't see the object out there. So mind is required. My senses are not functioning, there is no object out there. Right? My senses, I should have eyesight. If my senses are defective, like colorblind, then I don't see exact object. I see only what my senses bring in. It's all part of the knowledge of perception in the Advaita Vedanta. For those who are really interested, I have done the exhaustive analysis of this in my website on the analysis, critical analysis of Vedanta Paribhasha is there. Okay, if you will go, a lot of things are there, but I'm just giving you a sense of it. So when I see an object, I am not seeing the object, I am only gathering the attributes of the object. That's the first. Now the next question is, I am not even seeing the attributes of the object correctly, I am only seeing the reflected attributes of the object. Right? I'm not seeing the form, it's only reflector light from the object is coming. I'm not seeing the other backside of the chair, I'm only seeing whatever that light is getting reflected to me. Right? The form is important. Form is getting me that image for me, that's reflected. But complete not the form also. So whatever I get reflected is forming a vritti. So it's a reflected attributes of the object. Follow? Next thing. Existence of the object out there is as though transformed as existence of a thought in my mind. Object is out there, thought is in my mind. I say a chair E is there, but what is there is thought in my mind. The easiness of the chair is as though transformed as easiness of a thought in my mind of the chair. The contents of the thought is nothing but the contents of the form, attributes of the object. Next step. But even that thought, I won't know unless I shed a light on it and get the light reflected back. Just as I can't see the chair unless the light falls on it and get reflected back to me. And what is this light? This is the light of consciousness that has to fall on the thought for me to be conscious of the thought. Follow now? Same reflection theory. Now where is this light coming? Remember, consciousness is everywhere. It's falling on the mind. That's called Chidabhasa. That gets reflected. That reflected from the mind falls on the thought that rising in the mind, gets reflected back to the mind for me to be conscious of the thought rising in my mind. Clear? Want me to repeat that? Consciousness, I know this is deep, but this is exactly what I had to tell, because this is the essence of old Vedanta here now. Because now consciousness of the subject, existence of the object are joining together for me to be conscious of the existence of the object. Follow? How consciousness of existence becoming such it become one? Yes. Okay. Whole process. Consciousness is everywhere. Mind is subtle body. The subtle body, it has a capacity to reflect. If it is very dull, reflection is poor. If it is polished, reflection is very bright. Some people are so bright, they grasp like this. Why? The mind is pure. Some people, because it's a why? Because the mind is agitated or gone. It's nothing to do with the pure consciousness. Now consciousness has nothing to do with any of this. Remember, consciousness, why are you reflecting? What do you mean reflecting? I am just consciousness all pervading. It has nothing to do with any of this. So that's why from the point of Paramarthika, there is no creation even. Only the mind that is there is reflecting. Okay? And the mind is reflecting because I have reflecting capacity. You ask mirror, why are you reflecting the light? Yeah, that's my nature. So mind cannot but reflect. And consciousness cannot but shine. It's always all the time. So as long as there is a mind, there is a reflection of the consciousness. Chidabhasa is always there. Remember, these are important between what is jnani, ajnani, all that. This confusion arises because if you don't understand this clearly. So consciousness getting reflected is Chidabhasa, and this reflected light falls on the thought and getting reflected back to the mind. Clear? And mind says, that is a thought. Who says? The mind. Because when the reflection coming, it has the knowledge of the thought that is raising in the mind. And what is the thought? That is nothing but contents of the attributes that it gathered through the senses. Hey, this is a form, this is a chair. So I have a knowledge of the chair. When I look at the chair, so all these processes are occurring here. What is occurring? Knowledge outside, light is reflected from there, forming an image in the retina that is transmitted as a thought in my mind, that is getting reflected again by the consciousness, and the reflected light comes back, and that is the knowledge of the thought. So consciousness that I am subject, object, disease as a thought had to join together for me to be conscious of the existence of the thought, which is conscious of existence of the object out there. Now where is the world, sir? All world is nothing but objects. Objects, thank God chair doesn't enter into my mind. Chair is right there. But I am conscious of the world, I am conscious of all objects, I am conscious of everybody here, because light is getting reflected and come to my retina, forming a thoughts, and every thought is focused on the object out there. I am not creating the object. I am not creating the attributes of the object. My mind is not creating any of those. I am only gathering the attributes through my senses. So there is a Ishvara Srushti there. There is a Jiva Srushti where I raise the topic, I understand that is the cognitive process. Where I know this is a thought, but this is a thought is nothing but contents of the thought, and contents of the thought has nothing but the form and attributes of that object that I am seeing. This is a chair, there is a table, this is this, all that comes into picture. So when I am growing up, my mother said, "Beta, this is a cow." So a picture said, "This is a cow." So I saw cow. It looks white and all. Then suddenly there is a black cow. So, "Beta, that's also a cow." Hey, that was white was a cow and this is black. Now I understand there is some commonalities between this cow and that cow, and there are differences between this cow and that cow. So I have Vyakti Jnanam and also Jati Jnanam. I've used the words now. Jati I already defined. Common attributes of this cow, that cow, all cows have that cowness there, that, and then Vyakti Jnanam. This is a white cow, there's a black cow, there's a brown cow, all that is called individual Vyaktis. He's different, she's different, he's different, he's different, all Vyakti Jnanams. His mind is different, the way he behaves different, his other person different, all our problems are at that level. But in and through the forms, essence is what? The existence of the object as in that form has to join me as a consciousness of the subject for me to be conscious of the existence of the object out there. Clear? That's why the I am plus this, both are coming together. Without coming together, I cannot say the object exists. Now where is the object? In my mind. Because without my mind, I cannot perceive any object out there. But my mind is not creating the objects outside. So I have to differentiate. Where is the times? Oh. Oh, the long of time is there. So I had to differentiate between the Ishvara Srishti and the Jiva Srishti in this process, and that's what is comes out Paramarthika Satyam, Vyavaharika Satyam, and Pratibhasika Satyam. So three has to be understood clearly. What's all these words? One is the Creator Himself became creation. Varieties or names and forms are there. Asti bhati priyam rupam namam chaitanya panchakam. So Vidyaranya is in the Dudrisya Viveka. Asti bhati priyam rupam namam. These are the only 5 things attribute for every object. Asti means it exists. Bhati means it is illumined. It means it become one is conscious of that. Priyam, it is one likes and dislikes comes into picture. And namam and rupam, of which the first 3 belongs to the Brahman and the next 2 is only world. World is nothing but Nama Rupa. Nama means what? Naming, right? Nama means name. Naming involves knowing. Without knowing, I cannot name. I give a name for it because I see it. Hey, this is an object. What is it? Oh, that is a chair. Now I know what a chair is. Oh, that is the Gaga Boo he was talking about. Now I know what Gaga Boo is also. So now I give a name for form, means attributes. Remember, I am not seeing the substance of any object. Substantive of I am only seeing attributes of the object. Clear? Because attributes only senses gather. Is there really chair there? You are giving all philosophy, but is there really chair or not? Yes, sir, I can go and sit down there. You can talk all your philosophy, but I can go and sit down and I can hit with you the chair, then you will know that chair is there. You will also see that there is chair. Which means I had to do transactions with the chair to establish what I see is what is there.
What is transaction?
Hitting you with the chair. For example, if one transaction. One transaction. So I had to that's called Vyavahara. Vyavahara is, therefore it's called Vyavaharika Satyam, where I'm transacting with the things, therefore it is Satyam at that level. What is real Satyam? Is existence only expressed in that form. The truth is Satyam. What is Satyam? Oh, how do we define Satyam? Oh, people have different. No, Vedanta is extremely precise. Trikala abhaditam Satyam. That which cannot be negated at any time is Satyam.
So the wood is Satyam here?
No, wait a minute. Hold, I didn't come to application yet. Trikala abhaditam Satyam. That which remains the same in all periods of time alone is Satyam. Whole world disappears when I go to dream state. Well, not wood and gold also. When I go to dream state, this waking world is gone. I am sitting and also comfortable. Keshwarao fed me so much, and so I have good air-conditioned room there and very good damla below. I am sleeping and snoring and sleeping. Nobody is there. I'm making a lot of sound there. And when I am sleeping, I am sitting comfortable. I may be dreaming that I am in the forest, starving for many days, running away in the forest with all the thorns, and I see tiger also chasing me. Then completely contradiction of what I am. I am thirsty, and the table, she gave me a glass of milk also. On the table, I put it there. But that water is not useful for me in the dream. I need a dream water. I have to go to dream hospital to get cured from the dream diseases. Because other doctors are not helpful. Whole world is completely different there. Now, which is Satyam? Is this chair? I said wood is chair. Now you're asking, the wood is, remember, there is no wood there. There's a different, I made chairs with different things. Mud also I make chairs because there is nothing else there. Therefore, what is real? Trikala abhatitam Satyam, that which remains the same in all periods of time. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, it has to remain the same. What remains the same in all three? States are changing. I am the only one that is changeless in all the three states. This is not a belief system. Vedanta is not a belief system. I don't have to believe that I exist. I know I exist. Even if you say I don't exist, I know I am. So in a pitch dark room, say, you say, Sadaji, are you there? It's so dark, I don't know whether I'm here or not. I can't see anything. I cannot tell like that. Because I know I am. I don't need, now be careful, I don't need any means of knowledge to know that I am. Just now you gave me Vedanta is a means for me to know. No, Vedanta doesn't say you are there. Vedanta says you think you are this, but you are not this. Follow what exactly Vedanta says. Vedanta doesn't prove my existence. Vedanta doesn't prove that I am conscious entity. Vedanta doesn't prove that I am Ananda entity also. Vedanta says you are indeed that. But you don't know that. You solely say why you don't know and why you should know, and all that is what it is, Vedanta is pramana. So one has to be careful exactly where exactly Vedanta is fitting here. And what is that Trikala Abhaditam Satyam? Only thing in all three periods of time alone is that which is Yad Adrishya, Grahya, Agotraha, Charanam, all that is described, which cannot be seen, which cannot be described, which cannot be, because I cannot be described, I am, this I have to use. But this is all objects only. So I cannot say anything about it, but yet I know I am. It's not a belief. All beliefs are valid only because I am there. Even Vedanta is there because I am there. If I am not there, what good is Vedanta? So Vedanta doesn't prove an existent consciousness. Vedanta only proves that what you are looking for is what you are already. So yeah, I am Nitya Mukta. You are already liberated actually, but you think you are not liberated. Therefore, we have to attend the courses, camps and all that. So it's all that is implied. It is essentially bhavasunya sadbhavasustitihi, without any other thought other than sadbhava, means existence alone was there before. That existence is expressed in varieties of names and forms. That existence is not something. It is my own self, or it can be, you can say it is Brahman only. So that bhavana bhala bhakti, that is becomes a real bhakti. All other bhaktis, you just said pujanam japa chintanam kramat. All that puja is only ultimately, this is the bhakti. So where bhakti means devotion. And devotion means love for the higher is called devotion. Love for the lower is called you are falling. Because you are falling in love. So anything love for lower is lust. Anything higher is devotion. So what is higher and what is lower? That's the question. Remember, this is all I learned from Gurudev. These are beautiful explanations he gives me. So the impressions are so strong that I cannot, because I am a rational intellect, I cannot believe something unless I am convinced. So he convinced me in no time. That was the statements of his. One funny story, that's in Advaita, I think. So somebody sent, I think we used to have an unannounced photographer for the Chinmaya mission, Mimi Robbins. She used to take a lot of photos. And one photo, and Swamiji sends photos for everybody, wherever, Bitsha or something, he sends one photo. So he sends, he was giving some talk and he was holding like this. And in the picture from a distance, I was there in the other end as a part of the audience there. So he was as if he was holding me in my grip, in his grip. And he sends me, you are under my grips now. It was a beautiful statement. So that is the teaching of that's passed on to me. So I mean, I cannot but become emotional with that, think of him. But all that is coming from that knowledge only. So here, the bhakti is, this is the bhakti. All other bhakti is, Lord is there and everything, prayer and all that is, that's not really bhakti. People think that they are very devoted. But if you are really devoted, you should not worry. If you are worried, that means you are not devoted. Remember, this is litmus test for you. If I worried, why are you worried? That means you don't have faith that He is going to take care of you. If I have faith, why should I worry? That is His worry anymore. That should be the correct attitude of development, because it is difficult to develop because of attachments. Therefore, I had to surrender to Him. This is Tanna Mana Dana Sab Kuch Tera, Arati. This is, I am not the mind, I am not this, I am not that. So you do Arati. The Lord has already took an account. This fellow from today on, he says he is not the mind, he is not the body, he is not all money, then everything is not his. He already took account. But this fellow comes again, next day again, so he is offering every time, which is already offered once. So that means he is only threatening to offer. If I have the faith that Lord is everywhere and once says Sarvadharman Paritijya Mamekam Saranam Braja, that is the true surrenderance occurs only according to Advaita only once. When I surrender my wrong notions that He is not there anymore, He is everything, that understanding should be complete. Then I have no other than Him. That is bhakti, or other than I am, there is nothing else also. Either way it's bhakti. So what is bhakti? The Shankaracharya defines bhakti is essentially says the bhakti reva gari, moksha sadhana samagyam bhakti reva gariyasi. Until then, Shankara says he talking about jnanam. Jnanam is important. Here is a sloka that says, of all the paths, bhakti is the supreme. That's a statement. Moksha sadhana samagyam bhakti reva gariyasi. Gariyasi means supreme. And what is that bhakti? He defines. So, Swarupa Anusandhanam Bhaktirit Chabdhiyate. Understanding your own self is the real bhakti. And here Bhagavan Ramana says, this is the real bhakti, Uttama. Of all bhaktis, going after who is that I am, that is the bhakti. In terms of Swaswarupam, means what is my nature? What is that I am? Is inquiring into that nature is the real bhakti. There is a sloka that I don't remember, but it says all other things compared to that, inquiring into the nature of the reality is the highest punya. All other things are preparatory only for this. But if you are able to do this, then you are already, all other things are accomplished. So from then on to I don't have to go to the temple, or don't have to do. You can go to the temple, but see the Lord in you also there. It's your own. So if the knowledge, then everything becomes so beautiful also. Okay, anyway. So here the bhava sunya sadbhava susthihi means abidance in the knowledge. Susthihi means firm abidance in knowledge that I am indeed is that abhidha bhavana, where there is no difference of any kind anywhere. That understanding is the real bhakti. That is the uttama bhakti. Hrustale mana swastita kriya bhakti yoga bodhascha nischitam. So, Hrustale manaha, Hrustale means Hrudaya stale, that which is in the mind is the very essence as, Hrut means Hrudayam, the heart of the individual. Manaha means the mind. I say, I am the mind, I am this, I am this. What is the heart of it is that because of which it is, and without that it is not there. So what is that I am? I am is the very heart of everything. Called in the mantra 7 that I mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad, it says prapanchopashamam. Prapanch, all world dissolve into this. Because the waking world came, it disappeared. Where? Into my own mind. When dream world came, it disappeared. Deep sleep world came, it disappeared into me. Worlds come and worlds go. But I am there in the waking state, I am there in the dream state, I am there in the deep sleep state. I am not changing any states, but states are changing. I am the changeless entity, and that is changeless, is that which remains the same all the time, is only the Satswarupam, is only the Satyam, is only that which involves consciousness, therefore it's a Jnanaswarupam. So here, we need to understand Lakshanas a little bit. So it is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That's what definition. So Taittiriya Upanishad gives you two definitions of Brahman. One is the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That's called Swarupa Lakshanam. And the other one is Yatova imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayam tabisham vishanti tad vijnasasva tad brahmeti. So that is called Tatastha Lakshanam. Now Swarupa, what is the difference between Swarupa Lakshanam and Tatastha Lakshanam? Swarupa Lakshanam will come back. Tatastha Lakshanam means incidental qualification. Is Tatastha Lakshanam. So in every object, I already gave you about sugar and all that. What is necessary and sufficient. Now we have to use that a little bit. So when I say every object can only be known through attributes, right? Because otherwise I won't know. I need senses. Senses only can gather the attributes. These are only reflected attributes from the object. So through attributes only I can know. So attributes are qualifying the object. So every object must have attributes that differentiate one object from the other object. It's only attributes. So when scientists give a definition, definition is only in terms of attributes. He has to be precisely defined such that he can differentiate this from other ones. Definition has to be precise. Otherwise it will be vague. Hey, is it this or is it that? It means it follows in the, this also has that same attributes, other also has the same attributes. I should differentiate each object in such a way that it precisely locate that object. That's called attributive, where it is that which defines the object where it is. That's called Visheshana. Visheshana is the attributes. And one object differs from the object based on the attributes only. And I said, we can only gather the attributes, not the essence. So all our knowledge is only attributive knowledge. No substantial knowledge. Because there is no real substance there. What real substance is? Only the Ishvara, according to Brahman, which I cannot perceive. Because it's only electrons, protons, neutrons. These electron protons are not different from other electrons. It's only packaged different. Right? It's from the point. So, if you look at all the hierarchy of the system, it says one is Tatastha Lakshanam, incidental qualifications, but that doesn't belong to it inherently. So this definition that Jagat Karta Ishvaraha, first definition I gave. Jagat Karanam Ishvaraha, second definition I gave. There is a third definition which I didn't give is Sarva Adhishtanam Ishvaraha. Sarva Adhishtanam means it is the basis on which the whole universe came. And that's what this definition of Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayam chabisham vishanti. This is in the Bhrigu starts teaching. This Bhrigu is getting a lesson from Varuna. Says, what is a Brahman? This is what you have to inquire, from which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. That is Brahman. So Bhrigu went and says, everything came from food, sustained by food, into food it goes back. So Annam is Brahman. So how do you know Annam? Then he goes to next step. It's not the Annam. It is the mind that came. So it's not the mind. It is intellect. It's not intellect. It is that beyond all these things from which I am aware of the mind and intellect. That is essentially that. That's how the scripture goes. And it's called Adhyaropa Apavada. Means you take up to that point, you reject that one. You take up to the point, you reject that one. So until I am able to reject it, I have to use that as my goal. So until I can see the Advaitic teaching, God is still there in the temple, God is here, God is puja, all those things have to be done. Until I recognize that God is anywhere, not God is everywhere, and God is also in my own heart. Until I recognize this, God, puja, everything. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi, somebody asks, does God have a body? If you think you have a body, God also has a body. Because God can be described in, every scripture defines, is Shantakaram, Bhujagasayanam. All those definitions are all valid as long as you think you have a body separate from Him. All that is required as a necessary step to go to higher. When you go, scripture itself tells you, Says Yachachusha na pasyati, ena chachum sipasyati, tadeva brahma tvam viddhi, nedam yadidam upasate. Nedam yadidam upasate means not idam. That what you are worshipping is not God. Drop it now. Provided, what is God now? Yachachusha na pasyati, what eyes cannot see. So don't go and look for our God somewhere to see. Because of which eyes can see. That consciousness because of which I am able to see. That alone is Brahman, not this that what you are worshipping here. But that is only for a mature student of what? Who can drop it. Oh, if I drop it will come. No, then continue your bhajan. Drop will get angry, Papam will come. He says, no, continue your bhajan, bhojan, all those things will go and continue. Only when I am coming to that stage of understanding this now, what is the second, from which the whole world came, by which it is sustained, into which goes back, that's Brahman. That's a Tatastha Lakshana. Now what is the world? World is nothing but all objects. How do I know objects? Objects nothing but the thoughts in my mind. Now where is the world? Where the thoughts are rising in my mind, sustained by my mind, and goes back into my own mind. That is nothing but Ishvara.
Repeat the last part.
All thoughts are rising in my mind, sustained by my mind. They dissolve into my mind only. So, yato va imani bhutani jayanti. All thoughts are rising in my mind. Yena jatani jivanti. But it is sustained by my mind. And yat prayam tavisham vishanti. It goes back into my mind. Thoughts rise in mind and thoughts go back. That is Brahman. That is the Lord. Now, where is the Lord? Where all thoughts, the whole world is nothing but objects. Objects are converted into thoughts. Thoughts are rising in my mind and existing in mind, going back. How do you know? I am seeing all that. They are in me, rising in me, sustained by me. They go back into me because I am the existent consciousness that is. I am supporting the whole universe. All thoughts also rising in me only. In me means I am that basis. And sustained by me and go back into me. And I am that Brahman becomes. That becomes the knowledge now.
So you translate that, that's what, that I am Ishvara?
I am the total. Ishvara is creator. So if you use this as a definition of a creator, then I am the creator. If you use this definition. But remember, I am not creating the world outside. Thoughts are rising in me in the sense, I am not creating a chair for me to see chair in my mind. It's called ideal philosophy. That's not ideal philosophy. It's called Vijnanavadin. It is thoughts, Ishvara Srishti is there. Is there. So I didn't create you. You are created by yourself or by something beyond me. But I'm seeing you. But for me, you are a thought in my mind rising in that. So one has to be careful where this philosophy and what you're transacting has to be clear. It's an understanding has to be there. Okay. So this is Tatastha Lakshanam is incidental qualification where remember all houses look alike and says, hey, that's John's house. What is that? There. I don't say everything is like, hey, look at that. The bird is sitting there right now. That is John's house. Now next time you say, let's see where John's house. Let me see where the bird is going to sit. You cannot use that Lakshanam. That's only incidental to point out that which cannot be pointed otherwise. That's called Tatastha Lakshanam. There's a Swarupa Lakshanam involves Swabhavika Lakshanam. They call Swarupa Lakshanam is Swabhavam. It's nature. So sugar is what? That which is sweet has to be, sugar has to be. That is a necessary qualification for it to be sugar. That's a definition for sugar also. But what is that which is necessary and sufficient? That remember, that becomes a Swarupa Lakshanam. It's a Swarupam itself is that. It's H2O is water. And the converse is water is H2O. There is no two ways about it. It is its Swarupam. Right? Even though in the case of water, it is based on two things joined together, H and hydrogen and oxygen. But for understanding purpose, that becomes a Swarupam. So what is the nature of the Brahman? Swarupa Lakshana. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman itself is infinite. Anantam. It has to be Ananda Swarupam. Because limitless alone is pure. And that has to be existent Brahman. We are not about non-existent Brahman. So it has to be existence itself. And that is Jnana Swarupam. That's called consciousness itself. Swarupam, not Jnanam. It has not a knowledge of. It is knowledge, period. Knowledge cannot be defined. I just said knowledge cannot be defined. So Brahman cannot be defined. Only knowledge of things I can start defining. So it is pure Satyam Jnanam Anantam is a Swarupa Lakshanam. And that is essentially necessary and sufficient for it to define a Brahman as a Brahman. Any of this is only pointer in the direction, because Brahman itself cannot be defined. All that is involved in this. Okay, although I'm going fast, but that is so. Hrustale manaha. The I am is the essence of that, where the consciousness that I am and the existence of the objects. Therefore, the existence of the world is joining together for me to be conscious of the existence of the world outside. Sat, the Chit Swarupam that I am, Sat Swarupam expressed in the form of world, inert things, are to be joined together. And without me, existence of the world cannot be established. Other people have to be conscious entity to establish. Unconscious. So God particle came. God particle has to be, a conscious entity has to be there to see even God particle. So he is creating God also. So that has to be clear in terms of what exactly is involved here. Hrustale means the very essence, the core of my personality. And they used to say, where this side is this side, any side you look at it, it's only you. That is the very core of you. And that is the very cave of the heart where, and I am there in everybody's heart. That's what Krishna says. In every heart I am there. So why do you have to go to temple? He is there right in you. As the very essence. And what is the essence? I am the essence. Because in anything I am starts. Without I am, you cannot start anything else. I am this, I am that, I am blah, 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 all those things. Right? But without that I am is what the essence. That's why in the Bible also says that I am, because unqualifiedly I am. Right? Any qualifications is only this, which is only mithya. Now to reach that, he goes back from next sloka on to the Ashtanga Yoga. Because for this kind of knowledge, my mind has to be firmly abiding in this knowledge. For me to be ekagrata has required, therefore mind has to be controlled. So this is a chitta ekagrata. For that he is prescribing the methodology of Ashtanga Yoga. So here the description is more in terms of prana vichana than pranayama itself. That's what we'll do. Vayurodhana liyate manaha jala pakshiva rodha sadhanam chittavayuvas chakriya yutaha sakhayurdvayi sakti mulaka laya vinasane ubhayarodane layagatam punar bhavati no mrutam. So Vayurodhana, when I control the breath, so when we sit in the meditation, this is a problem for a lot of us, where when we sit in the meditation, we are there, we are sitting, but the mind is not there. Why the mind? Mind has gone where it has attachments. So people complain that I am there sitting for 1 hour meditation, I am not able to meditate. What's the problem? It has traveled all over the world. I'm sitting in the room, but it has traveled all over the world and came back here when the time is over. My half an hour meditation is over. So what should I do? It says, Vayurodhana liyate manaha. My mind can be brought under control by controlling the Vayu, controlling your breath. Says that's Jala pakshivat rodha sadhana. Just as the bird is difficult to catch. If you try to catch it, it will run away. So if you use a net, then you can catch the bird. In the same way, you can catch hold of the one that is slipping away easily by using controlling the breath. So here we have to think in terms of a little bit, where the breathing is normally an involuntary function. I don't have to, I have to, hey, no, please don't disturb me. What are you doing? I'm breathing. So why are you unnecessarily breathing? What are you doing besides breathing? Nothing else. Because breathing can go on whether I am awake or asleep, continuously goes on without even my knowledge. If it doesn't go, then I become problem, right? People put all the tubes and all that in order to force the breathing, because then I have a problem. But otherwise it continuously goes by itself. So says, if I can control the breathing, then mind cannot run away from that place, seat of meditation, because you are controlling it, prana, and therefore mind has to rush back. Hey, release it, me, so that I can go. So by controlling the breathing, so this becomes a sadhana to bring the mind to the seat of meditation. So in normally seat of meditation, when you sit straight and start breathing exercise, where deliberately you control breathing in and breathing out and holding the breath, all are involved in pranayama. This has to be done with the teacher's support normally. But for just normal purposes, we can start controlling breathing a little bit so that mind is available for the next step.
What is the mechanism by which the breathing controls the mind?
That's what he's going to he's telling it. Because this is in the creation itself, there are Maya Shakti. Now I have to introduce all the questions. The question is asked. There is a Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti splits into two. One is Kriya Shakti and another is Jnana Shakti. Now what is Maya Shakti? What's all this? What's Maya and all that? So remember, what was there before is only one. Existence alone one. It became many. That's what the scripture says. How did it become many? So when it said becoming many, we are already bringing Ishvara as a creator. And how does he create? Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate Acharya Saram, Krishna says. Under my adhyaksha, under my presidentship means the president doesn't do any work, right? He sits in the chair. But under his guidance, under his control, the prakriti projects everything. So therefore in the science, so when some object is sitting there, and suppose it moves from there to there, says there must be a force. Otherwise it won't move, right? So any change of state demands a driving force. This is science. Now what is the proof? I don't see any force. The very fact that there is a change of state implies that there has to be a force. And that's how you define a force also. Newton defines a force, that which makes an object move, or that which makes an object change its velocity, or that which stops the motion also. Because there is a change of state. So change of state involves a force implied as because there is a change. The very change implies that there is a force. And where is the force located? This force located the one who is using it for the change. So therefore, Prakriti, what you say, Maya, the Chena Prakriti Suyati, so under my guidance, Prakriti is projecting. So Prakriti is nothing but Maya. Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat. This is in this Svetaswara Upanishad. By the way, Guruji is taking, Swami Tejomayanji is taking this text for the first time, where I am also going, that's in the Houston. Those who want to know, this is normally he has not taken that text, and I would like to listen to his explanations of that. So this is the text where it defines Maya is same as Prakriti. Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat. Svetaswara Upanishad. Therefore, Maya is the force, says that is the force that makes this Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shakti Anadya Vidya Trigunatmika Para Kayanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya Eya Jagat Sarvam Idam Prasuyate. That's from the Viveka Chudamani. It says Maya is different. It's a Parameshwara Shakti. It is a Shakti. Shakti means a power. Power has to be locused on something. That is Parameshwara. He has the Parameshwara as this Shakti. And with that Shakti only, and Shakti and Para is Purusha Prakriti. So Purusham Prakritim, it is Vijjanadi Ubhavapi. It's there from the beginning. It's from the, that's what Upanishads talk. The Bhagavad Gita says. So that Parameshwara has this power to create because he has the power. What is that Maya? If you go ask now. I create my world, you create your world, he creates your world because of my vasanas. I entered into the womb propelled by my vasanas, because I need that kind of environment to exhaust my vasanas. So the vasanas are driving force for me to go, because I have vasanas to talk and he has vasanas to listen, so we are here. So vasanas are propelling things for actions. Vasanas at the subtle level expresses as the desires of the intellect and agitations of the mind and actions at the body level. So the root cause is the vasanas, is the driving force at the individual level. Okay? My vasanas create my world, your vasanas create your world, his vasanas create his world. So samishti vasanas, all people, all beings put together is the driving force for the samishti world, for the whole world. Follow? The total vasanas of all beings in the whole universe put together becomes the cause for the creation of the whole world. That is the driving force. That is same as the Maya. Okay? So Maya is that force, but how did it come? Because of our all vasanas put together. I don't like this world. This is because that kind of vasanas are there to exhaust. If you don't like the world, you change your vasanas, she changes her vasanas, everybody change their vasanas for better. The Lord has to create a better world. So don't complain about the Lord for the world we have. We creating our own worlds for our own total vasanas put together. Nobody gives my vasanas. I may try to distribute the laddu everybody because I have laddu vasanas. Doesn't mean that they have to acquire. They take as a prasadam, then it's a different thing. They have reverential attitude, not particular laddu or whatever. They are ready to take whatever you give as a prasadam. Non-reaction. That's a prasada buddhi. Then there is no vasanas for them. So vasanas come when I have egocentric action is involved. So that which is Parameshwara Shakti, that's a Maya, has itself the total creation. In that there are two branches, he is going to say, Sakha Yordvahi, Shakti Mulaka. The original Shakti, that's Maya Shakti, has two branches. One is Kriya Shakti, another is Jnana Shakti. Kriya Shakti has Karmendriyas, Jnana Shakti has Jnanendriyas. There are called 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas. And total are called 10. And Dashanana is the one who has involved only in that level. So we are all Dashananas, if we are only involved in the sensuous level. So, no? Dashanana means, Ravanasura, 10-headed monster. And he is stomaching all the experiences. I want this, and running all forward. So whoever is running at that level, they are all Ravanas. And we need a Rama. Gurudev used to teach about Ramayana in a beautiful way. We need a Rama as to use Brahmastram to destroy at the stomach level so that we don't go after this, we go after something higher. Brahmastram is Aham Brahmasmi, has to be taught by the teacher. That's what is the Ramayana in a nutshell, according to Gurudev. But this is essentially the Jnana. The total Maya Shakti has two branches. One is the Kriya Shakti and another is the Jnana Shakti. And because they have same roots, one can control the other. So therefore, by controlling the breathing, I can control the mind. By controlling the mind, breathing also slows down. When you become calm and quiet, the breathing is slow, methodically. Otherwise, agitated, also problems come. So therefore, this is what is being discussed here. By controlling by Jalapatshi, by the net, I can lock in the bird. Similarly, by controlling the breathing, I can bring the mind to the seat of meditation and dissolve that disturbing mind. Liyate here means I can dissolve the disturbing mind so that I can concentrate. So here we need to understand the mind has different types of operations. One is called wool gathering mind. Wool gathering mind is nothing. If you go on walking, I'll give you experiment to all my students also. When you're walking, suddenly freeze your mind. If you freeze your mind, you'll be either thinking of the past or of the future. Thinking about what happened in the past or what is going to happen and what you want to happen, all those things. It doesn't live in the present. It's not available. You can try, experiment anytime. This is what they have problem. And one thought, other thought, without anything, you spend all your walking, you don't know what you thought about it. Nothing is of importance also. You come back, say, what did you do? What did you think about it? I don't know, something. Because that's just this stray mind goes and people spend sitting there and thinking all sorts of things. That's one kind of mind. The second kind of mind is a mind which is attachments. And most of the time, this is where the mind problems are. All our problems is due to. So, I am attached. The fellow who is attached, they may be comfortable, but I am sitting here, what happened to my son? I don't know what he's doing. All I am here, and he's enjoying somewhere, but I am suffering here, sitting there, thinking about what he is doing, whether he's eating properly, he's not eating properly. So, that is the mind. And that mind is the one that is disturbing mind because of the attachments. And that's the mind which goes to the temple with a big list. Remember the bigger the list, that's the mind. Anytime you are worried, that is the mind. And how do I control the mind? Get detached. Simple. How do I get detached? Say karma yoga, bhakti yoga. How? Say Swami says, attachment detachment technique. Is what attachment detachment technique. What is attachment detachment? I have to attach something to higher to get detached from the lower. That is the only technique. That can be bhakti or karma yoga, all those yogas comes under attachment detachment technique or sannyasa yoga. Sannyasa means renunciation, yoga means attachment. So renounce attachment, say detachment attachment technique. But don't get detached unless you attach to something higher, otherwise you'll fall down. So first attached, and Swami Chinnan, the Tejamayanji, Guruji used to tell, we have one hand on his on the top, one hand under his leg, so that he doesn't run away from you, neither you run away from him. Hold on both. So that way you get attached and then he will be there with you. Because he says, I am just right behind you. I am waiting for you when you open the door. That's called Upadesha, Anumanta. Anumanta is, I am just watching you. I am ready to help you because you are looking outside. Then say, okay, let him play. You will come to me slowly because he is there all the time. So that's the process of detaching. That is one kind of mind. There is third kind of mind, which is objective mind. Objective mind is the mind that is required for vichara. That is a sharp or a synthetic mind or an analytical mind to gain the knowledge, whether it's an objective knowledge or knowledge of the totality which involves subject and object, everything together, Vedanta knowledge. That is the mind we required for this. That mind doesn't get destroyed. Other minds get destroyed because when I remove the detachments and I use the higher, the attaching mind goes away. Stray mind goes away. There is also fourth kind of mind that is called avesham. Avesham is, I lie down in the bed. How dare she said like that? And I am see whatever she said, she is comfortably sleeping. But here I am tossing this side, that side bed and all that, rerunning the same video again and again and again in my mind, again and same scene. It becomes avesham. Avesham means neurotic, and that is the dangerous mind. That is the mind that requires medical help also. depressions and all that come into picture. So these are the main states that are different. So what is the mind that I had to develop? It is that mind which can inquire freely without any problems. That is the subtle mind that is required, because now we are inquiring the subtlest thing which is there in this mixture. Why do I need subtle mind? Because every time these two things are together. What two things? Remember my hand. Light and the hand. I need the hand to recognize the light. Without the hand. At the same time, it's not the hand. I have to use neti. So I have to use a discrimination while looking these two things mixed together. In this, I just said about light and the object, but also existence and the object attributes. I need the mind. What is the existence versus what is that which is superimposed attributes? That also every time together. Every object that I see, there is no existence, I cannot see anything. Every object I am seeing only, object-wise, I am getting carried away with the attributes of the object. I have to drop the attributes. I see the essence is nothing but the Sat only, that is from the teaching of Vedanta. That's where Vedanta becomes a Pramana. So, Tattvamasi statement, oh, I'm sorry, I'll stop here. The Tattvamasi statement comes in the Chandogya Upanishads. Before Tattvamasi, a more important statement comes, Aitadatnyam edagam sarvam tat satyam sa atma Tattvamasi svedaketu. So, Aitadatnyam edagam sarvam means edagam sarvam. This that you see sarvam is essence of Aitadatma, means essence of that idam is the truth, Sat, and that you are that Sat. That's the teaching. So, essence of everything is nothing but the existence, and existence is my own existence is pervading in this form. How? Because the existence and consciousness have to become one for me to know the existence of any objects also. So, that's how they come together. So with that, I exceeded a little bit. So we'll come back according to this one at 10 minutes from there, and then we'll do the final session there. We'll do Purnamada, Purnamidam. Om Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.